Hey everybody, Kip Winger here, inviting you to check out All Access Live with my friend Kevin Rankin.
Hey everybody, Rod Morgenstein here. Make sure to check out Kevin Rankin's All Access Live. See ya.
Hey everybody, thank you for being here at All Access Live with Kevin Rankin. As you can see below, my guests FourOneSix are going to be here in just a moment, but I would love it if you do me a favor. If you came here from any place else other than YouTube, go to youtube.com/@accesskevin, subscribe to this channel, make sure you like this video, share it with your buddies. I am just shy of 3,000 subscribers right now, and so I'm trying to amplify my user base and give you more opportunities to see amazing guests. So not only can you subscribe, but that's free. You can also become a member. And if you choose to become a member, you get exclusive access to certain episodes that I've hung backstage, maybe over at their house. We've done some studio stuff, and those are special episodes. So members get extra stuff, but subscribers, you guys are just my best friends. So I would not be here if it weren't for my amazing friends at 5-Star Guitars. If you're interested in playing guitar, go to 5starguitars.com. Everything you see there, you're going to save 10% off of using the promo code of All Access Live when you check out. And if you order outside the US, you find out that there's no sales tax. Sorry, if you order outside of Oregon. Now, you're probably looking at this outside the US because my next guests are coming to me from Ontario. They just had a quick internet glitch, so they're off for a moment. They're going to pop back in a second. But let me tell you a little bit about them. Brent Lunney is the mastermind behind the band FourOneSix. You can find out all about their shows, get the biographical information about FourOneSix at this is the number 416.ca. If you didn't already know, 416 is the area code for Toronto, and YYZ was already taken by the Amazing Rush band, so they couldn't use that. While we wait for them to jump in, let me just tell you a little bit about this band. Friday, June 27th, this coming Friday, they're playing at the Black Swan in Oakville, Ontario. On Saturday, they're also playing in Oakville, but they're playing over at the Ginger Man. So Brent and Dan will be doing this duet that we'll see in just a moment. In July 18th, Piper Arms in Burlington. July 25th, again, back at the Black Swan, and so on. So go to thisis416.ca. and you can find out about it. And now they're back here with no further ado. Please welcome FourOneSix. Hey, gentlemen.
Hi. Hey.
That was fun.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
One of these.
Was it Natalie's tabs again? Is that what it did?
I think it's so hot here. I'm wondering because we got in earlier. All the internet was out in the house, so it's bizarre.
Yeah, you guys are getting the heat dome that's happening across the East Coast right now.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my wife was coming home. Natalie was coming home from work, and on the 407, like the forests were on fire. It was crazy.
Wow, yeah, that's nuts, man. Well, you guys have had your share of. Oh wait, hold on. Is this drink time? Is this what we do?
Sorry.
You want me to go? You guys have nicer mugs than me. Tell me about the mug. What do you have there, Dan?
My wife and I, every time we travel, we get one from Starbucks. These are also. Which one do you have? This was from Paris. That one's from England.
I'm a little disappointed that we don't have Timmy's represented there. You know.
It's all good.
Well, first of all, as I mentioned, people, I gave the link to the website, talked a little bit about the upcoming shows, but because I'm just got the link here, people don't get to see that when reading this from left to right. We've got Brent Lunney on the left, we've got Dan Todd on the right here, and I believe, Brent, this is your mastermind. This project actually was your baby. You want to tell me about how FourOneSix came to be?
Yeah, it was something I just started doing after the demise of a previous band that I was in called the Apollo Effect, and it just crashed and burned, and I just was ready to walk away. I don't want to do this, you know. It just when you believe for something, you're just like, I don't know if I can do it again. So anyway, just guitar again after the absence and wrote Bleeding Out, and I was like, whoa, okay, that felt really good. So why don't I just write songs for the sake of writing songs, make this just about, I'm not going to tailor it toward a specific genre like the Acoustic was, I'm just going to write songs I want to, and then it just evolved from that. So.
Right. Bleeding Out was the first song. Well, hold on. Before you mentioned that, because I'm getting a little bit of feedback there on the audio, I think there may be a little conflict between your mic and the speakers that are playing it. Are you listening to your own playback right now on ours?
I don't think so.
Nope, just on the computer.
Okay. All right. If there's any way, and I hate to do this while we're on here, but there's a little setting, lower on the right hand side under audio. Hit the echo cancellation toggle if you don't mind. Let me see if that helps.
Yeah.
We don't want because what. All right. So once you guys start playing a little bit of music, I don't want to miss any of the goods, So Bleeding Out, you said that was the first song that you ended up writing, and that wasn't a carryover from the previous project. This is just okay.
It was, man. It was just one of those songs. Sorry, that it falls out. The whole thing just fell out, and I was like, okay, that's why it felt really good.
It was the first song that really caught me too. I mean, I think the first song I actually heard from you was the cover you did of the Spoons tune, right? We've been here before, which I love, and people that are watching this that may not know, I'm in a band with Gord Depp from Spoons and in A Flock of Seagulls, and Spoons put out a record of songs from other artists that were dedicated to their old hits or newer stuff, but yours was a really cool, unique, sort of unpredictable song. Because I told Gord, I said, man, it's one of the favorite songs I have from 416 without knowing it was a Spoon song. Sorry, Gord.
Brent calls it a deep cut.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but have you known Gord for a while? Was the Spoons a band that was on your radar?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big fan of the Spoons, and Gord did some work with I produced a couple tracks for my previous band, the Apollo Effect, actually. So we did go back a ways. And, I did some artwork for one of the Spoons records, and then kind of just caught up again. And he called me about the project, the Echoes project, to film me, just to catch up. We hadn't talked in a few years. And when I got off the phone, I said, damn, I'd really like to be part of it. I messaged him real quick and just said, hey, listen, is it okay if I have a go? I've been here before. He goes, I'd love to. I said, but what's the deadline? 3 weeks. Okay.
Wow.
Just pulled it off really quickly. It's great. Yeah.
Do you actually have a home studio that you do a lot of your work in?
I know, and I called my producer at the time and I said, dude, we got 3 weeks, we can get this done. And he's like, okay, we put everything on hold at the time, and it was awesome. So,
and were you actually like creating all the tracks yourself, or were you and Dan already working together at that point, or did you bring Dan in later?
no. I didn't even know he existed. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because after doing I've Been Here Before, right? It's everything kind of the world of Gord Depp and Ed Sousa kind of opened the doors, and that's how Dan and I eventually met.
Really? Okay.
In the world of Ed.
Ed is the connector for everyone. I mean, honestly, we wouldn't have probably had Gord in the band. I don't think if it was for Ed Sousa. I think Ed, because they had played together a long time ago, but Ed brought Gord and the band back together. As if people don't know, Brent, we did the show about 3 weeks ago when Ed had this Classic Bowl, the concert series, and you were on with Prism and Streetheart and Haywire, and we were talking about Honeymoon Suite, a lot of the other big Canadian bands that were playing there with Ed Sousa's event, and I think people that don't know might hear us revere Ed Sousa and in sort of a cultish manner, because he's the most unselfish guy I've ever met, right? And everything he does there, all the profits going to Ronald McDonald House, and so how was Gord the one that actually introduced you to Ed then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I met Dan through one of Ed Sousa's events. I think the Classic Bowl event was the first time I met you, right, Dan?
I think so too. And we've run into each other 1,000 times, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And embarrassingly, Brent, when I saw you on that show, when I said we met before in Cancun, and you said, well, we met in Cancun, but we also met in Vegas. You guys came out at the Vegas show. Yeah, and my apologies, man. Out of context, you know how it is. But and Dan, you're a player, a drummer in the scene that's actually been around a lot of bands. But I knew you had time with Platinum Blonde in the past.
Yeah, I've been really blessed.
And whatever, like, what were you doing before Brent?
Platinum Blonde absorbed 10 years of my life, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Prior to that, I played Honeymoon Street for a bit, and did some shows with Atlanta Miles, and did a run with Jimmy Jameson from Survivor.
Wow.
And did an album with Flood.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember them. No, they were the original lineup behind Cat Stevens, and yeah, they had some great stories. But it's just a lot of rehearsing, tons and tons of rehearsing, and the band was as tight as ever. But it would have been really nice to go out and tell everybody how tight we were. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
There wasn't as many wasn't as many shows as I could be.
So at least you had the pedigree that when Ed Souza said, "Hey Brent, I got a drummer for you. You're putting together a band." Was this the intent? Was just do acoustic duo stuff, or were you going to do a full band? Brent. Uh-oh, I lost your audio. Your audio dropped for a sec. Yeah, it did. That's. But
There we
actually,
go.
there you go.
we
Yeah,
go.
awesome.
Okay,
You never
we'll-
look better though.
We'll smooth this out eventually. But what happened was I met him at a Classic Bowl event.
Who
Same
was it
thing.
that night that was
I
playing?
forget who was playing. We were just at the same show, and you had on your phone, he had a Angels and Airwaves thing, and I said, "Oh, you like Angels and Airwaves?" And then he said, "Yeah, you know them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love them. Great."
Mm-hmm.
So we just started chatting and became fast friends. And then about, I don't know, a week or two later, I think it was,
Yeah.
Ed had asked me to open at the Omacombo for Streetheart. And I said, "So you just want me and my guitar?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just spoke there." And I said, "Okay, great." And then I said, "Ed, do you mind if I bring somebody else to, play percussion?" He goes, "Sure." And so then I messaged Dan. I said, "Hey, are you what did I say? Are you going to the show on Friday?"
I think he said, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, "Oh, we're coming to see you on Friday." Something like that.
Yeah. And I said, "No, I want you to play on Friday." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And so I just said, "Yeah, play the cajon." He goes, "I've never played a cajon."
Yeah. I owned one, but I never played it.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Just sat on the shelf.
Yeah, it's funny. I have an endorsement with Sabian Cymbals, and I just said, "Send me one," and they did, and it sat in the case. So I finally had to pull it out and try and figure out how to use it.
Right on. Yeah. No kidding, man. And it's a different thing, right? It's a completely different thing than playing
Whole
drum
different
set.
animal. That's right.
And,
One of the things I found difficult about it, though, Kevin, is when you're playing it, you're slouched over. So trying to sing and get the air out of you, that's, if you ever see me, I'm sitting on it right now. If you ever see me, I lean back on it so I can at least try and get myself up a little bit, But
Yeah.
a whole new animal.
well, you know what? I have a tool for you. We're going to do a little shameless pimp here right now.
Okay.
Guys, if you're listening to this and you're not watching, I'm actually going to put a link down here. A dear friend of mine who plays drums for Bow Wow Wow came out with this tool, and he's had it at the NAMM show. And so it's the Drum Nest, and it's actually for that very thing. Actually, it allows you an opportunity to be able to play in an upright position without having to hunch, but still play your cajon with all sorts of percussion things. So thedrumnest.com. Dan Todd, check it out. And Ryan Scheidermeyer, man, thanks for coming out with an amazing tool. All right. So when we were just talking at the beginning in the onset of the show, we were talking about different levels. And when you guys go out, when I listen to 416, the tracks, I mean, the songs are so complex, they're really, really rich. And so when you guys are playing and sort of interpreting this in an acoustic way, how does a song like Bleeding Out come across when you play that live? I'm hoping, is that one song that we may be able to hear today?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to tell people. This song it's incredible. If you don't know the song already, the link at accesskevin.com, I'll embed the original studio track in there so you can hear. But if you guys are cool and you're prepped to play that one, I love this song, man. I've been playing it so much that Gord Depp is really sick of it when we're out. Let's do this, man. Let's introduce people to what the music is that we're talking about. So,
Wow, yeah, that's great.
and you've got your custom pick plate, the 416 pick plate, which is nice.
Yeah, I just do that myself. That's easy, but yeah.
Are you a graphic designer as well?
Yes.
You mentioned actually coming up with some artwork for Spoon. So
Yeah.
the 416 album art is fantastic, man. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy doing that as much as I do the whole project. I mean, it's just another creative outlet, right? But it's so much fun to do it. I love all that old graphics on those 70s albums. Everything was, those really cool, the whole hypnosis stuff, all this, everything they did. There's always details in there.
Right.
You got to really look more than once to notice all that stuff. But yeah.
Do you have a favorite album?
Kevin,
What's that, buddy?
is there still an echo?
No, I'm not hearing it now.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
fantastic. Thank you. Hey, real quick. I mean, this is just off the cuff. But Brent Lunney, do you have a favorite album cover of all time?
Oh shit!
That's a reach.
Put you on the spot right there.
Yeah. Well, you can think about it while you guys do Bleeding
I will
Out.
think about that. I'll get back to you. There's so many, but yes. I'm sure
This will help me understand who you guys are a little better. If I know what Brent's favorite versus what Dan's favorite album covers are, right? So
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad you got to answer this first.
yeah. All right. Well, so I'm gonna take myself off camera. We're gonna hear you guys do Bleeding Out, and I'll come back on. We'll wrap.
Are we doing the whole thing? You want to do the whole thing?
I would love it, man. Absolutely.
All right. All the wrong words went in the right ear. Turn the wrong way into this nightmare. Open the door and find the lost years in me. Couldn't see light without some voodoo. Can't seem to make a move without you. Is this a breakdown or a breakthrough for me? If I bend my soul, will the weight of the world just fall away? I'm bleeding out. If I change my mind, would you still be mine or turn away? I'm bleeding out. Bleeding out. Wrote a song on the radio, and it made me realize everything I don't know. And now my little white lie is just a full-blown catastrophe. If I bend my soul, will the weight of the world just fall away? I'm bleeding out. If I change my mind, would you still be mine or turn away? I'm bleeding out. I'd let it go and sell my soul, but it ain't worth the bones it's living in. I see all the regrets spread across the carpet. I gather them up, place them in a casket. Or maybe I could save my favorite one for me. For me.
This is where you're all clapping on the other side of the screen there.
If I bare my soul, will the weight of the world just fall away? If I change my mind, would you still be mine or turn away? If I bare my soul, will the weight
That's my friend Brent right there.
Nice. I love it. Fantastic. Oh my God. You know, it would not be a Dan Todd experience without some comedic relief, right? So
I know. And he does it to me all the time, and that's why I forget words half the time. I'm like,
Oh, the stuff we do live, I'm telling you, that you don't, if you ever see me leaning back and saying something, him bursting out laughing, it's because I've verbally pulled down his pants. That's the best way to put it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. You know what? There's enough going on outside this little environment that the world is a challenge. So it's nice to have a little bit of an escape, right?
It is nice. You know, when you get inside, you want to close all the doors and pull everybody in and say, this is ours.
Yeah.
This is us now. Let's have some fun tonight. Just us, all of us.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny, even if we're doing a gig like with Saga or, you know, Midge Ure, it's one thing. But when we're playing to a packed pub, it becomes a great big family. And people are singing and it makes it easier for us. You know, when we get these songs going, for some reason, a lot of Brent's songs tend to sing themselves.
Yeah.
He'll sing a line and they all tend to sing, to repeat it, you know?
Right.
And stuff. And for me, it took me a while not to get so choked up on it because it was just like, wow.
Yeah, man, you have a gift for sure. You do. You know, in the chat, I see, hi, Rosie. She says, thanks to Kevin, I've been loving your music. Bleeding Out is fab, as are many of your other tracks. I've been here before and also listened for the Starlight. That was one that she liked a lot. So
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Rosie?
Rosie Munden. Yes. My future Canadian partner, my bride, whatever. I met Rosie the first day of the tour that we came through Canada, and yeah, I'm just crushing hard. So thanks, Rosie. Anyway, Andrew Cloveter's here also, and I see you got here, so I'm glad you guys are here in the chat. So Andrew is also, you know, he's been a guest on the show. Andrew's one of those guys like you guys. He wears a bunch of different hats, and it's amazing to me that there's a community in the Toronto area that is like no other. I cannot believe how supportive people come to shows. You know, you guys have toured, man. You know, right? When you go out and you're on the road, and you'll meet somebody, and they may really be into the music, and if you extend yourself a little bit to welcome them in, you could potentially put yourself up to maybe have barriers crossed and boundaries crossed, because people, you know, but for me, I don't like to shut anybody out. I like to welcome anybody in. When I get to Toronto, everybody there made me feel like family. Ed was the sort of the ringleader behind it, but Andrew Cloweter is certainly, you know, one of those guys. Chris Stodgson, who you had on the, you know, on
Chris is great.
show. It's amazing. And then you got guys like Kayvon.
We love Gowan.
Who doesn't love Kayvon, right? And Kayvon's been on my show.
honestly,
We were backstage at a show for the Culture Club, and of course, you know, Brent and I and my family, my wife and I, we all know the Culture Club guys, and so we're at a show and we're backstage with Mikey and Jimmy and Roy, and Kayvon's walking down the hall, and they said, "Have you found George?" And, "No, I haven't found him yet." "Well, go find his room. Go find his room." Like, I just imagine him just bursting in, going, "I'm here."
Yep.
But you know, I love the guy.
It's amazing. He has the ability. He has the ability to just navigate into any scenario.
Yep.
I see Andrew is excited to have had him included in the chat, which is great. So you know, you've got a ton of gigs coming up. I was looking at your schedule, and you've got some smaller shows there in the Oakville area. But what is the plan for the summer, man? Are you guys you hitting the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, we've got really just a couple short runs. Well, I shouldn't even say that. We got a festival out in the East Coast, which will be great, back in my hometown, which will be awesome. And then we come back a couple of days later to play the Burlington, Canada's largest rib fest, which is great. We'll be doing that with Kings, yes, which will be fun. And then we just did a show last week with Strange Advance, Images of Vogue in the Box. And that was awesome.
Oh yeah, man! I saw some videos from that. It looked incredible.
Yeah, it was good.
I've had I had Drew on the show talking about Strange Advance last year, and thanks to Rosie, honestly, I was not as familiar with her music, but she's really. I've had a new deep dive in some Canadian music, right? So I grew up in the Midwestern states, you know, kind of like where your prairie provinces are. And I was, of course, I knew Honeymoon Suite. The bands that got like MTV airplay, I knew quite a bit more. So bands like Headpins, I was really familiar with. I knew Platinum Blonde, like Saga, of course. And I met Michael the very first time I came and played in Toronto. Played at Massey Hall.
He's a sweetheart.
Unbelievable. That's what I was going to get to. Is that there's something about Canadian artists, right, that are so different than guys in the States. And I know that sounds corny, but in the States, there's this air of hubris, this I don't want to say arrogance or pompous, but there's also maybe some insecurities, right? If a band that gets popularity, they somebody might be threatened by that. But in Canada, it seems like everybody in that community is so supportive of each other. So you mentioned Strange Advance. You talk about like the Box, right? When you guys play with those kinds of bands, it's not as if there's a pecking order where you've got an opening act, but it's like you guys are all there to party, right? So
it's a family.
It is.
It's the best way to put it.
I'm stunned to this day. Like, I mean, we've had nothing but amazing experiences, and every band we play with have been incredible people. And yeah, you're right. There's no pecking order. We know the pecking order. But the thing is that they don't treat us, any differently. They treat us like we're part of the show and part of the family, and it's remarkable.
When you guys were growing up, so Brent, you're from New Brunswick, correct?
Yes.
All right. So were you out seeing live bands when you were growing up and sort of like fantasizing about getting out there and making music your thing?
Of course, yeah. But back there, man, there wasn't a ton of, you'd have maybe Honeymoon Suite would roll through town or something, I mean, it wouldn't be a lot of opportunities. It's different now. It's way different now. And I think, they've got a ton, and everybody goes to the East Coast now, plays Moncton or say Halifax, right? But as a kid, I couldn't get on a bike or ride to Moncton. It was too far away. But not a lot of people came to my hometown, so it wasn't until really I ended up leaving the East Coast that I got to see a lot of the bands that I loved.
So where did you get into like discovering bands? Did you just like radio and
word
of mouth?
Yeah. I mean, my brothers had a record collection too. I remember just as a kid diving through those and then just you'd hear a song on the radio or you'd watch Much Music or whatever, and I'd come across somebody that would never get played on the radio out east, right? Because they're pretty grassroots kind of people, right? So they're going to play you the classics and. But every now and then you discover, I had a thirst for it. Like I just was always, my antenna was up for anything new and exciting. And I did parties all the time. By the time, you're in high school and university, it was just like, guys, really, are we going to listen to this again? We've heard this for 15, 20 years. Let's try something new. But
what did you go to university for?
I went for English Lit and philosophy.
Interesting. Okay. So this is some of the impetus for the lyrics that you've got in the 416 music.
I guess so. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. And Dan, did you grow up there in the Toronto area?
I grew up in Kitchener.
Kitchener. Oh yeah.
So out of Kitchener came Helix.
Yeah.
But
I was a huge Helix fan.
They were great. They were awesome, and it's really funny because as a kid, if you saw them on the street, you're all just like, But I realized as a drummer growing up there, you kind of, there was nothing more to do. I had to get out, because there weren't too many bands that were there that were playing and stuff. So when I met Randy Cook, and he really took me under his wing, and I shared a place with him in North York, and I just went out and started slugging it all around Toronto. But like Brent said, growing up, as far as music was concerned, we were glued to Much Music when we got home. You remember, everybody had their VHS tape, and you record the videos that you liked, and you go back and just watch them. And that was your mixtape, right? But I remember I would see a video on Much Music, but then go out and buy the album, and I had a huge collection of music, tons and tons of stuff. But this is before CDs and all that, and we got into Spotify. When you want something, you pay for the service. You can just listen to it. But as far as the music was concerned, getting into Toronto was the best thing that ever happened for me.
Yeah.
As far as getting out, slugging out, and meeting people, and going to all the jams and exchanging numbers and just that interaction. Then your phone starts to ring.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Randy's the king of that, right? You know, I've gotten
He's
to know
the
Randy
best.
through LA. And when we were in LA and talking about where he was from, then you went down sort of the rabbit hole of, the Phil X connection, and then all the, all the Canadians that migrated to Los Angeles. But it's cool
He
to see
deserves
him.
everything he's got.
Absolutely, man. Well, you know what? He's one of those guys that I think he has that personality, the Canadian community personality that happens to be in LA where it's kind of cutthroat, and he still gets all the calls because
but he's really good. That's
a great player, and he doesn't,
he's one of the best.
Yep. And he's a good, solid, personality human being too.
Absolutely.
You mentioned collecting records. So what was your first record?
My very first record, I would have been, grade 3 or 4.
Okay.
And I think it was I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Nice. All right.
And then I bought Devo. And then I got Cheap Trick, Dream Police.
Nice.
And then, of course, Michael Jackson, Thriller.
Okay.
And Boney M, and ABBA, and
Crazy.
so it's funny because a lot of my friends were into really heavy stuff, but I was into R&B and pop and and pop songs, ABBA and stuff like that. It was great.
Yeah.
So,
there's a common thread. Almost every guest that I've ever talked about guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
ABBA's always the one, and I'm like, it's not guilty if everybody loves them, right? There's nothing wrong with ABBA. But how about you, Brent? What was your first record?
Well, the record that changed my life really, it was a cassette, by the way, because it was the records weren't, but it was the Cars Heartbeat City album. Great album. It changed my life. It literally just set me into like, oh my God, I couldn't get. I mean, I wore that cassette. I literally had to buy another copy. Like it was just play, flip.
Yeah, every song, right? Every song in that record, so good. I hope you're not offended if I talk about similarities, man. But after getting to know you a little bit more and digging into the 416 stuff, I will admit, like one of my favorite all-time bands, and I'm obsessive when it comes to music. But you've heard the Matt Bellamy, comparison, right? Like Matt Bellamy, the singer from Muse.
From Muse, I love Muse. No, I did that.
I think you look so much like Matt. You and Matt could be like doppelgangers. I love it. Yeah.
I wish I could play like that bastard, man. They're such a killer band. I love them.
Incredible. Brand new song came out overnight, man. I love that they're still just ripping them out. But Ed says that you were into Talk Talk. Is that right?
Huge, yeah. Another one of those bands. I mean,
love that band.
Just the Color of Spring album is like just top 5 of all time for me. Just brilliant.
It's great, man, that you guys, as fans, you've been able to play with some of the heroes that you've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Dan, you talked about Midge Ure. I was a big Ultravox fan, and I was really into the hard rock stuff. I loved Kiss, Scorpions. That was like my stuff growing up. But I loved Ultravox, and getting to know Midge and knowing what an amazing human being that guy was too.
Great guy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't find somebody with a more like sort of pure voice too, right? So, and you guys just gigged with him as well, right?
It was funny being with him after the show, and we were just talking about average Joes that are on his Rolodex. Oh man, I think we'll use Simon Phillips for this one, and we were talking about Mark King from Level 42, who I had an opportunity to hang with just recently, and again, what a sweetheart.
Amazing.
These guys, they're all just buddies,
Yeah. That's how Gord Depp was. The first day I met Gord Depp, we go hang out, to sort of learn the new material. And he's looking through his phone like, oh yeah, it's Geddy Lee. I'm like, what? Oh my God. Okay, well, just another day in the life of well, because they shared the record label, right? They're on Anthem.
Yeah.
So yeah. But he's so humble. He'd never admit.
He's a classy guy, man.
Gord's a great guy.
Yeah, wonderful dude.
Yeah. So Gord, all the stuff I said about you this weekend, see, I'm just making it all up. I was a little tough on Gord, I will admit it. So poor Gord. Well, no, we'll talk about it later. It's like it had nothing to do with Kayvon at all, actually.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife and I were talking about this the other day. I've known Gord probably for about 30 years now. Wow. Long time. And it seems I can remember the first time I met him. It was great. So he's just a good spirited dude,
Yeah. You know, I don't mean to make this episode all about Gord, but literally 15 minutes before we went live, our bass player he's in San Diego area, and Phil X was on his way over to come over and pick up a bunch of guitars that he'd left there. And I just saw Phil at the NAMM show, and we were chatting about the whole Canadian connection. And I said, "Oh yeah, I think you know our guitarist, right? Gord Depp." He goes, "Gord Depp from the Spoons." And he got so excited about it. And I'm like, I told Gord, I said, "Man, this dude everybody loves you, you know?" Why aren't you?
Man, I mean, there's things about, I mean, just put the human being aside for a second and talk about the musician and the songs he's written and the guitar work he's done, the licks he's done. It's just, wow. Like,
yeah.
I
think he needs to be, I don't want to give him up, but I think, he needs to somehow pair up with 416 when you're doing these shows.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Yeah.
You mentioned a festival that you guys are doing again. Was it this blues festival? Is that what you said?
No, Canada's largest rib fest.
Rib Fest. Oh, that's what it was. You know what? I was thinking of Kitchener because we played Blues Fest.
Yeah, the Blues Fest. Yes.
But yeah, so Canada's largest rib fest you're doing. And who else is on that lineup with you guys?
We're there with the Kings. Yeah, the Kings.
Oh, that's the Kings gig. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Another like Canadian Hall of Fame band. Yeah.
Love those guys. Yeah, they're fun. They're so much fun. Exactly.
And you work with I know that you have some history with Rain Maida, right? Brent,
did you mention that to him, by the way? I don't know.
Not on the air, but yeah. No.
Yes.
Were you Our Lady Peace fans?
I'm a huge Our Lady Peace fan. I saw them here in Oshawa there a few months ago.
Right on.
Awesome show. Them Collective Soul was fantastic.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go see those two next week.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're playing it live as well or something maybe.
That's right.
But I did during the Paul Effect days. We did. Rain had this wonderful War Child busking for change event that ran for 3 years in Toronto, where everybody's playing every street corner in the downtown area, and you're raising money, people dropping coins in the bucket, and you're just playing acoustically on the street, and it was awesome. And we participated all 3 years, and we might have been the only other one other than Rain to do that. But it was a wonderful event, and he's a smart dude, incredible talent, and great respect for Rain for sure. He wouldn't know who I am. Okay.
But it's funny because he's down in the LA area too, but he does have that sense of community, trying just the Bus for Change project, but all those things that he's doing even now with Fan Drop, he's trying to help fan engagement for artists, but he talked about his legacy just being, he wants people and artists to be connected. He wants music to be something that can be like help fortify people and people be sustainable, through music. And I think it's a rare thing, to find somebody that's willing to give up so much, to try and help people out. But I was more encouraged by that after chatting about another podcast. So when you guys do these shows, the not necessarily the Rib Fest, but these other shows that you have in where did I see this? Yeah, you've got Oakville, you've got Burlington shows, and then the New Brunswick. The New Brunswick is that okay? That one is in August, just before the show with Kings. What's happening with the KV?
Well, I think they've got the headlining there. It's the Sheepdogs and Haywire, Sass Jordan, and I think someone else I'm forgetting all playing there. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just going to be a joy to play my hometown, like I say, and see lots of family and friends, and just do our thing out there. Right?
Are you doing it stripped down like this as a duet?
Yeah, we're going to just do the duo thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, do you have any plans to do full band, like live, loud rock?
Yeah, in fact, we did. I can't really announce anything, really, but we did do one.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear this first. Natalie, sound the horn.
Yeah, but we did do the McBowl with Midge Ure. That was a full band. So that was the first time we got to break the band out in some time. So that was Andreas. Yeah, and we had another Canadian band called 8 Seconds who had a big hit called Kiss You When It's Dangerous. So we had the singer Andreas come down and join us for that, and that was a big hit.
He's awesome.
Awesome. So we'll hopefully get to do some more of that with him. But we do have some stuff in the works right now with the full band that we're gonna get out and do. So we're looking forward to that.
It's tricky, right? I mean, costs of touring right now are through the roof, and I wonder about some of that. So as a duet, you're just going to go out and personal vehicle, just make the track and do these festivals and yeah.
Well, private jet, dude. Come on.
Yeah, that's right. We get to roll with
The Learjet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a private jet.
Oh, the weird.
You don't have one? Come on.
Yeah, I borrow Gord's.
Well, the funny thing is with the duo, which is interesting. I mean, they're both, like you said, they're different beasts, right? And I love both equally, but I mean, I love the full band because I get to put this guitar down and I just get to do my thing, and I can relax a bit more and kind of just focus on working the room. But with the duo, what's special, when Ed asked us to play, when we did the Saga show at the El Macombo, it's the first time Saga ever got to play the Elmo. And that was a couple summers ago now, I guess, whatever it was.
It was.
And it was packed. And I was like anxious for like 2 weeks going, what are people coming to watch a prog rock band going to want to do with a guy sitting on a box and a guy in acoustic? They're not going to, I'm like, there's no way they're going to be into this.
Yeah.
And so we sound checked quickly, and after the room was full because, they sound checked late. And they started singing one of our songs instantly. And I was like, all right, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night.
As soon as we started, it was fire. So it was like, wow.
It was good. It was a great night.
So the duo is a different beast, but we feel like we can make the room a little smaller and bring everybody closer, and that's kind of what works, I think.
I was thinking when you were doing Bleeding Out a minute ago, it reminds me of Campfire. Kind of like you're out around a campfire and people are cracking beers and just before we went live, you guys were just doing a little jam of Crazy, the Seal tune.
Yeah.
Is that one that's in your set?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Depending on the mood we're in.
Yeah. It's a fun one to play.
It is. Yeah. What else do you like? What is like the barn burner? What's the one that gets everybody singing along?
Rain in the summertime, big hard sun.
And Hold Me Now.
Hold Me Now is another one. Yeah.
Nice.
Hold the Moon.
Hole of the Moon
Hole
by
of
the
the Moon.
Water Boys.
Yeah,
That's another one.
Oh,
We just
Water Boys. Yes.
Great. You pick songs that everybody knows, or maybe they don't know them, but they just tend to just take them for themselves, or pull one out that you won't expect, and they're totally into it. We played this place in Oakville. It's one of our favorite places to play, the Ginger Man. We turn that place upside down, but I think what happens is the people know what they're getting into when they get there, and they're ready to go. And it's like when you're going to a concert, you know what you're going to get. You're going to go to Coldplay. It's going to be one of those nights you're ready. One thing I find when we play this room, it just seems like people are they know what they're going to get that night. So it makes our jobs really easy.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
Totally does. Yeah, man. I think just the idea of being able to strip down, just show up with your cajon and a guitar and nothing else. You're just walking in. Yeah, man. And not just the ease of that, but not hiding behind anything, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing when you got amplifiers and drum kits and everything in front of you, but when you can just be there, it's a communal thing, and you can share air with people easier.
Yeah.
So even though we're not sharing air physically right now, what else might I hear, man? What's another tune that I would
when we're doing the duo thing, we will do our best to pull people in, okay, and point to somebody in the audience and talk to them directly. And I think I learned that from my wife, because she's really good at that with her job. When she talks on air, she feels, it's almost like she's talking to you. So one thing that I will do is I'll look for like the oldest couple in the room, and I'll go, first date.
Yeah.
Nice. Where did you get, which app did you use? Did you swipe left? So I was a grinder. I'll just play them.
Yeah.
And once you do that and you gain a couple of laughs, people are then into it, and then there's more into it, and then you just start working the room. I'm going to dedicate this one to that table because I like your shirt. It's just something so minuscule and dumb.
Sure.
But then, hey, they're talking about me, and next thing you know, it just tends to work.
Yeah, no,
we feed off each other too, right? So
there's certainly that. You can warm the room up, when they feel like they're involved somehow. Some people don't want to be involved. That's fine. You learn real quick, but the other ones who want to, and then we just it's fun because to break down songs like Mr. Brightside acoustically, or You Shook Me All Night Long. I mean, people are expecting to hear that stuff acoustically, and yet we make it work, and we do our little twist on them. We don't play them verbatim, and it's a little bit different.
Mashups too.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, really? Yeah.
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 But
do you have any? You have any
Sorry, go ahead.
mashups that you've dialed up for this acoustic duo that we might be able to hear?
Oh God, right now? No.
Well, let me ask you, like, because like Moonlight and Vodka is a song. It was one of the first songs when I was doing a deep dive. Do you ever do that one, stripped down duo?
We haven't, and I'll tell you why. And
Okay.
it's one of my favorites to play.
Yeah.
But we haven't because of the whole Russia situation.
Oh.
And it really shouldn't matter. I think we're at the point where it's not by any means. It's just about an American spy who's in Russia and jaded, drinking in a bar. So really, it's one that I really want to bring back because I love playing that one.
It's a great tune.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I understand like the sort of the desire to avoid any kind of political affiliation, but I wouldn't interpret that, from the song.
Right.
It really, it has a real like sort of a cinematic vibe to the song. I love it. But what's another 416 song that you guys love doing? Like, do you do Dear Mr. Downey?
Oh yeah, we have.
Yeah. Is that one you have? Is that one you could throw down now?
Sure, we could do that. Sure. Yeah,
Let's do this. Hey, and while you're grabbing your guitar, I know that Natalie had just put your pup up. Is that your terrier, Dan?
Actually, he came down the stairs, but then he got really close to me, and she's going, "Come on, Ross, come on."
Oh man, dogs are welcome on camera always.
Yeah, he's outside right now with her, and I can go and call them in, but we'll do this tune. And when they come back in, I'll pull them over. So we've got a cockapoo. His name is Ross, and we've got 3 Bengal cats: Phoebe, Chandler, and Joey.
Wow.
So
Nice.
our cats are beautiful. They're so cute. But they're fun.
Right on. Awesome.
I love this
song. This is Dear Mr. Downey?
Yep. Yes.
Awesome. I'm going to hop off, and I would love to hear you do this one.
For any of the tragic hit fans out there,
Tell them the story. This is great. Yeah.
I guess, I should just quickly for anybody who's here for the first time. I was fortunate to be at the very last Tragic Hit show here in Toronto. And then their last show was, I think, 2 days later in Kingston, and that was the end. But it was the most emotional, remarkable, memorable event I've ever been to watch this guy giving 120%, knowing that this is going to be the last time he gets to do it. And I mean, I wasn't a big Hit fan over the years. I became one eventually. But that was one of those songs that just about a week later, I picked up the guitar, like bleeding out. It just fell out, words and all. And I'm like, okay, so this is a song that was meant to be, and
Love it.
So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, here's Dear Mr.
And they're
Downey.
the cats.
They're the cats. Awesome. 416, ladies and gentlemen.
Dear Mr. Downey, I never met you. I think we could have been good friends. It made me want to visit Bob Cajun. I didn't even know where it was. You and your band of brothers, all the lives you change forever. They can't keep a good man down, no. From Kingston to the prairies, you brought this country together, born into a century. At the right time. Hey man, they'll sing your songs forever. 'Cause your words are poetry of our time. Gift shop and gander to the golden rim, motor in. You sing your way into our heart. Yeah. You and your band of brothers, century at the right time. True north, strong and free. Stand on guard for thee. True north, strong and free. One chord to another. Sundown, you better take care if I find you been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you been creeping round my back stairs.
Nice. Oh, they got the mashup in. That's fantastic, guys.
Little one.
Beautiful. Love it very much, man. That you know, people that might not know that story of the hip and Gord Downey, there's a killer documentary that Rosie turned me on to about the, you know, their sort of return to final days, and with his cancer diagnosis, you know, for all the people that came together for him. Yeah, that's a tearjerker for sure. But I made the mistake of telling guys in Toronto that I wasn't a huge hip fan when I first came to visit 25 years ago, and I got punched. So but I get it now. You know, I just wasn't as familiar with their music, you know, and once you get more familiar with the music, then you see the community part of it again. That band is one, you know, just like I've been talking about, has so much support that people are rabid fans, right?
Yeah.
So
Hardcore fans. Yeah, I felt the same way. Like I said, with back in the days of, you know, hanging out at university and stuff, and everybody's playing the hip endlessly. It was just I was like, come on, guys. Like, and then eventually by their fourth or fifth record, I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Let me reevaluate this.
Yeah.
But
Dan, you mentioned you're from Kitchener. What was your first concert ever live?
Striper.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Robert Sweet, man. Is that?
Yeah. I would have been. We're talking grade 8.
Yeah.
You know, or was it grade 7? I don't. Something like that. It was a long time ago. And then I'm trying to think of who I went after that. But again, Kitchener, of course, we had stages there. So we had it was a club called Stages. Had a lot of great acts. I remember Crash Test Dummies and Brighton Rock and some of the heavier acts too. But also in Kitchener, we had Lulu's, which is the largest bar in North America. And I don't know if you remember that place, Kevin, but you could play baseball in there. It was a Kmart store that was converted into a bar. As a matter of fact, remember that movie Meatballs?
Yeah.
At the very beginning, when all the buses are lined up there getting ready to go to Camp Mohawk and White Pines, that's all right in front of Lulu's, where Lulu's was. That's it.
Really? Okay.
So it was a massive place, but and I mean Chubby Checker, the Village People, and Johnny Winter and Rick Derringer and Gary Richray and the Ramones. Like everybody played there. So
you were able to get in there as underage? You were able to get to see a lot of these shows live when you were underage?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Were you playing drums at that point?
Well, I was playing drums, but
yeah,
I don't think they really knew how old I was.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's okay. Cause as a young drummer, right. When the bars would let me in, it was the most incredible thing. Cause then your mind went to all the possibilities of what you could do for the rest of your life. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Brent, were you playing early on too? Were you a young musician?
No, I mean, I started writing ridiculous songs when I was like 13, 14. But yeah, I mean, I can still remember the dumb titles of it.
Tell us
earlier ones. Yeah, one was like Love Laser.
Oh,
I know. And I think Dream in the Future was another one. But I mean,
Don't give these up because Gord's going to start stealing them now.
You're right, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Love Laser, that should be an Aldo Nova song or something. But
What about Love Laser? You know,
Love Laser. But I just, I think I just was so hardcore into music by the time I turned 14, 15 that I just started any way I could. I wasn't really much of I couldn't really play anything, but I would bang around on the piano at home and strum a couple chords of the guitar and just create melodies and write a song. And it just, I see now how learn the craft, and as you get more educated on the science of it, right, the art of it, then But,
Are you into the technical part of stuff? Are you into like the DAWs and digital workstations?
Well, I actually, when I graduated university, I moved to Toronto to do audio engineering. So I went to Trevis for that.
Okay.
But and it was great. I could finish that. But I was just like, I really wanted to focus on writing, and so that's where my time is. So I can do all of that, but I don't spend time with it. I mean, I work with really great people, so I'm like, why am I gonna spend my time doing that when I've got these people like. No, man, I'll put it in their hands, and then it's great because that collaboration. I mean, all of those things like Bleeding Out or whatever the songs are. I've been here before, and I'll like I write the song. Well, I didn't write that before, as you know, but those other songs, when I'll write them, I'll bring them to finished as far as arrangement goes and everything, and then it's just like we sit down and go. My producer at the time would say like, here's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, that's neat. And he said, but I'm thinking this, and we somehow make all those worlds work, and then that's the beauty of it, right?
If you can get a great relationship with a producer like that, I mean, there's a point, right, where you have to put your ego in check a little bit. That's a tough thing. Do you guys collaborate and write together? You two?
We haven't really done that. I mean, I think vocally we kind of spend more time on that. Yeah, and just writing the harmony parts. I mean, he's so great at that. I mean, literally that show that we played with Streetheart the first time, I came by his house 3 days before the show. We ran through the set, and I was like, what's going on here? These vocals are amazing, and we just blended instantly. It's almost like we came out of the same room.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Well,
it's funny when I remember this. I got this list of songs. Let's do these, and Brent's got such a library of music. His own personal stuff. And how do you chart for a cajon?
Right.
So I'm charting out regular drum charts, just as far as patterns and stuff and tempos. Because to me tempos are so important, But yeah, that first connection there, that was magic. And even in Bleeding Out, I had an idea when I heard the song of what we could do with it, and he was very open to holding a certain note here and playing a different part, and it worked out great. It's been awesome. But like I said, as far as writing together, he'll throw an idea at me, and I think the latest one that we did really like that was "It's You." And but really, it's his magic. It's his baby that I just kind of try and put a little color to it.
Yeah. Now
that makes sense.
Are you playing that one live? It's You.
Oh yeah.
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 Maybe before we go, maybe we can hear a little taste of that. That'd be fun. I'd like to hear.
Absolutely.
I do see that Perry is here. Perry with a Strange Advance. I see you in the chat. So glad to see you here, Perry. And when you've got this list of shows coming up, I was just while you were playing looking at this. You've got 2 festival shows coming up this summer. Then you've got a good bank of like these pub dates. If you could put together the perfect touring ensemble, right? So you could take like 2 other bands, doesn't matter whether they're local or international or even still existing. What's the perfect ensemble of bands that you could go out on the road with and blend well with?
Musically speaking.
Yeah, even it's we all have our favorites, but there may be something that stylistically just probably wouldn't be a great match. But what's the perfect match for
Angels and Airwaves and Iron Maiden?
Nice, awesome.
No, you wouldn't get a straight answer out of this.
Yeah.
No way.
I would love to do a gig with the Culture Club.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right on.
Absolutely.
Can I tell you a story about that before you answer, Brent?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
We did a show with Boy George in Anaheim, and it was right, I think, when Gord had joined the band. I was
there.
Oh, you were at that gig. Was that the one where the PA went out?
Yep.
And George, they turned the monitors around, and he just sat with an acoustic guitar. He had his guitarist, and they just did acoustic stuff because they weren't going to wait for the PA to be fixed, and he didn't care about like the sound being all messed up. He just did it a cappella, well, with like you guys, like a duet. It blew my mind. It was the coolest thing.
He's a talent.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, if you were there, then you already know. But
Yes.
I had such a greater level of respect for him after seeing that, you know. So props to him. But anyway, Brent, go ahead.
I would probably say like Coldplay and, and Tears for Fears.
Oh,
Would
dude.
be probably the
nice.
two bands I think we just fit in nicely with that.
Absolutely.
As a full band.
Yeah. I could see that. Both. Yeah, both. Very much so.
Yeah.
There's a little Radiohead vibe too in
Yeah.
in your music with your writing too. So
Look, man, I mean, I love, because you know what, like I hear that on occasion, but not often enough. So I appreciate that. But like, you know, I'll get Pink Floyd, which are one of my huge, you know, inspirations, one of my favorite bands ever, particularly the David Gilmour stuff too.
Yeah.
Really 2 records, but I mean the 2 that he did on. But I mean, I love all their stuff. But the thing is with me is like, if I hear a song, man, if I'm listening to Pink Floyd one day and I'm listening to Radiohead the other day, and then I'm listening to Marvin Gaye or whatever, it's like I'm inspired in the moment. So if I end up writing a song that sounds like it, that was the beauty of 416 for me, was that, well, I don't have to be anything in particular. I can just be what I want to be. So I'll write and record a song that sounds like this, and I don't care if it doesn't fit alongside anything else. But it still ends up sounding cohesive.
yeah.
That body of work, because you know the vocals there, the melody was all written, you know, by me anyway, but the production is different.
Yeah, have you noticed a big difference? Because there is a real diversity in the recordings that you've had, but you've worked with different producers on these records, right? So, have you felt like there's been a natural transition to move towards a certain sound, or has this just been your evolution?
Well, yeah, I think it's been an evolution, and it's always just like I say, it's always being inspired by something different. But you know, we found, you know, fundamentally, and you are what you are, and it's hard to escape that, right? So I'm a product of the '80s, more or less, and I love everything about the music of the '80s, primarily because of the production. It was just so like there was just so much going on, but it was so inventive at the time. Where now everything's a retread of that era,
Right?
And you know, and so for me, it's like as I continue to evolve by trying to stay, you know, like you're hearing what's new, what's exciting, what's going on. That's great. But it's just the filter system that when it comes through, it's just going to eventually sound like that. I think no matter who I work with. Like we're about to embark on a new record now with Mladen Alexander, who's part of the live band that we have as a full band. Brilliant guitar player.
Fabulous.
You know, did a lot of work with Tom Cochran and Lee Aaron and Triumph. So he's got a nice little edge to him that I think will be exciting. But I bet when all is said and done, it's still going to sound like us, right? So,
Yeah, that's killer. I love your homage to Bowie there too on the shirt. That's nice, man. Can't go wrong there.
no.
So so the song that you talked about with a little bit of coloration that you added to it, Dan, this is
It's
a
You?
new release. It's You. This is a new. Look at the chalice. Nice, Brent.
I know, right?
Yeah, my wife got those from Love Is Blind. Remember that? You ever watch that Love Is Blind?
The TV show?
Yeah.
No, like
Okay, so I don't want to get into this too much. I'll make it really quick. They got a whole bunch of booths of men, a whole bunch of booths of women. They don't see each other, but they date without seeing each other. And the reason why we got those is Kevin Wynn, our good friend Kevin, God bless him. He's the greatest guy in the world, but he's a klutz and he breaks everything in our house. So we got sick of having to replace glasses that he was breaking. So my wife got those ones, you know, and it's kind of
Nice.
funny.
nice. Yeah. Kevin Wynn did Concan, right?
Concan, that's right.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
He was here yesterday. I love Kevin. He's such a great guy.
I haven't
Funny
seen him in a
cat.
while. I think the Sands was the last time I saw him a couple years ago.
Right. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. Right on. Well, let's hear this. And guys, if you got here late, there's some really great material. Brent Lunney and Dan Todd from 416 are here. And if you want to check out, you go to this is the number 416.ca. You can see their schedule, find out a little more about them, and hopefully get to see you guys play live. You got shows coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I got 2 this weekend, which is great. And then I think we're booked up pretty much the whole summer.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to going out to New Brunswick, and Brent and I were lucky enough back in April to go to England, and we did a function out there that was just so much fun, just with some great people, and my wife has a cousin who's also very, very talented as well, and it was great working with him because he's another great songwriter. So these two together,
That's
the
cool.
whole mind being around these guys that are just writers, it's fantastic.
Well, people, you mentioned your wife and the Love Is Blind connection, but if people don't know, the other side of Dan Todd is an amazing rock star in and of herself, right? Natalie's the TV personality there.
That's right.
Well known in Canada. So I don't know if there's an anonymity that needs to be kept about her personality, but
No. She's the host on the Shopping Channel. She's great. She's awesome. I should call her down here and get her to bring the puppy.
Yeah.
So, hey, babe.
She's not going to want to make an appearance.
We're going to auction something off right now, buddy. So
Here, Ross. Come on.
come hawk some jewelry.
Yeah. Hey, babe, come on down for a second.
Kevin wants to say hello.
Yes. Come here, Ross.
And I'm dying to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my beautiful wife.
There we are. Hello. How
Hi.
you doing? Good to see
How are
you.
you?
It's good to see you again. Oh my God, your dog is adorable. Oh, hello, buddy.
Ross.
This is Ross. He's the best.
Ron, here, I'm going to move my little logo out of the way so that people, I can't move it. Darn it.
That's okay.
Probably a good thing.
Who's that?
There we go. There. Now we can see him. Hi, Ross. Hi, buddy.
Camera.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. Natalie, what is your schedule typically when people get to see you on the Shopping Network?
Oh, my work. I usually work the mornings, so I'm 9 to noon, and you can watch at tsc.ca.
Okay, very good. And you're selling all the 416, the 416 albums?
All of it. All of
Nice.
it.
Nice.
There we go.
Well, thank you for making an appearance. It's good to see you, and thank you for bringing your
Thank
puppy.
you. Thank you. It was nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. All right, so guys, I'm gonna have you play us out. I'll take us off camera, and if you guys are anywhere in the Oakville or Burlington area, make sure you get out and see 416. They're playing Friday night in Oakville at the Black Swan, Saturday at the Ginger Man, and with that, we're gonna hear you guys play.
It's you.
It's you.
It's
Fantastic.
you.
Thanks,
You
everyone.
want to come up with this? You're just going to go right into
Thank
it?
you, Kevin. Is this
All
the
right.
last time we're chatting, by the way? Right now?
Oh yeah, I'll come back on camera after I shut us off the live.
Okay, great.
We'll talk more about Gord.
All right. I can't read your mind. Too real, too sublime. You're a reckless guy. Running out of time. And you're slightly bent. And out of touch. Little malcontent. You're so easy to love. And when the world goes crazy, I need someone to save me. It's you. It's what you do. And when you drive me mental, you're still beautiful. It's true. That's just you. But you're a cold hard bitch. He said it. Who's out of control? Totally nuts. You got an angel's face with the devil's soul. And when the choir sing from the heavens above, you'll be hitting out halos. One by one by one by one by one. And when the world goes crazy, I need someone to save me. It's you. It's what you do. And when you drive me mental, you're still beautiful. It's true. But that's just you. Just be you, don't ever be you. Just be you, don't ever be you.
That's my friend Brent Lunney right there.
Awesome. 416, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much. And again, if you came here late, go back, check it out from the beginning, subscribe to the channel, share this with your buddies. And Brent, Dan, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Kevin, man. It's a pleasure. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. We'll be back here with Alan Cross in a couple weeks, a week and a half. So
Fantastic.
subscribe to the channel, guys.